Hi everyone, we are revamping the cooling system on this Mercedes M500 W163. Let me show you. It's been a faithful Mercedes for almost 10 years to me now, and we bought this with only 170,000 miles on it. It now has 273,000 miles, and I've never replaced any major component on the cooling system. And so what I want to do is do some preventive maintenance to avoid any major issues that may come from a failure in any of these components before it actually happens. So what we're going to do is replace the water pump. And we'll talk about power numbers, we'll talk about torque specs, disassembly, reassembly, and how everything done. We'll replace the water pump, we'll replace the Serpentine belt, we'll replace the thermostat, and it comes with the housing on this M113 E50 engine mounted inside of a W163 Mercedes ML500. We will replace the auxiliary water pump, and I'll tell you what all these components do and what the purpose of it is as we go through the process. We'll replace the water temperature sensor that sends the signal to the engine control unit to activate the suction fan, and we will replace the two pulleys. This is the idle pulley, and this is the belt tensioner pulley. Now, you can replace the whole assembly, but they do sell the pulley separately, although it has a tamper-proof bolt on it. We'll get into all of that, what the size of the bolt is, what the nomenclature for it is, and so on and so forth, and what the torque specs are for everything here as well. So I said we jump right in and make this happen. Let's do it. We did move inside the garage because it is cold outside. So we're going to do the job. It's going to be a little less lighting, but we'll do the best that we can. I wanted to go over the part numbers and the pricing for you, 2024, 2025, of what it takes to get this job done. Everything was purchased from Auto House AZ. And if you look here, you have your auxiliary water pump, part number 0392020029. It goes for about $95. Then you have coolant temperature switch, or the coolant temperature sensor, which is this one right here that I showed you earlier. Part number 4, that is 0999053800 for $22.49. Next is the water pump. The water pump is a lasso, and it does come with gaskets. And the part number 4, that is 112-200-1401LA, and it goes for $113. And then you have the thermostat, 112-203-0275 for $39. Next is the Serpentine belt, 6PK2390 for $24. And then you have your two pulleys. You have your belt idle pulley, which is IN-68020888 and double A for $649. And then you have your accessory drive belt tensioner pulley. Sorry, so the one on top was the idle pulley, and this one on the bottom here is the accessory drive belt tensioner pulley. There's a UR-112-2000970P. Total price, including the purchase protection, taxes, and the shipping, comes out to $360.39. This is how much it costs you in parts, cumulative, to do the job for the revamping of the cooling system. You will also need, which you can buy at Home Depot, your T50 socket, and it's a temper-proof socket, 3/8 drive. It's called the T50 temper-proof Torx bit socket from Husky, and it cost about, I want to say, between $5 and $7. I don't quite remember the exact price, but it wasn't much. And what that does, it addresses, let's see if I can show it to you. Put the headlamp on, and I'll show you what I was talking about, that we will need that. It's, can Can you see it? See that bolt right there on this pulley? This bolt right here is a T50 tamper-proof bolt, and this is the this is the pulley right here, T50 tamper-proof bolt, and this is the pulley we're going to replace. We're also replacing this pulley right here, which this is your other idle pulley, and this is the water pump is right here. We're replacing the serpentine belt, and the rest of the components are in there, and I'll show you how to get to them. So yeah, that is what these are the parts right here, the part numbers, and what we're gonna be replacing. I'm also gonna use some Loctite 242. It's a mild Loctite on the fasteners for the water pump and the pulleys and whatnot. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna have to get some access going here. Let's turn this light on so you can see what I'm talking about. We're going to remove this engine cover, and I'll show you the whole process. We're going to remove this air filter. You know what I noticed, guys? Remember, as a mechanic, you're also the inspector, the first inspector. And I noticed when I was looking through under the hood to get ready to do this job, look what I did. I did not properly install the inlet into the air filter housing. And it still works. It just doesn't get air directly from the front of the engine. And this is where the, I don't know if you can see it, the auxiliary water pump is right here. So that's it, guys. That's what we're going to do. We're going to remove this cover here. We are going to remove the suction fan out of the way. We'll disconnect these two leads. Some people recommend disconnecting the battery. We're not going to do that because I don't want to reset the clock anymore. What we can do, though, is this is the power right here for the suction fan. So we're going to undo this now. Disconnect this terminal that feeds the power to the suction fan, and the ground, if you want to disconnect the ground as well, it's actually right under here. Here it is right here. If you want to disconnect the ground, it's going to be, sorry, this nut right here. If you want either one of these two nuts, I'm pretty sure it's this one here. Sorry guys, I got a little bit of a runny nose. It's been cold. All right, guys, let's set this up, and we're gonna get rolling here. Oh, also, we are gonna drain the cooling system of the engine, obviously, because we're removing the water pump and all the components, and we will have to remove the shroud here as well. It's this cover under here, and you do so by removing the 6 screws right here. These fasteners right here. I don't know if you can see it. There's one here. One over there, 2 on this side right here. I don't know if you can see them. Let me see. See right here? Here's one right here. There's one right here, and there's another one. Where are you? Maybe there is. Oh, here it is right here. It's right here. So we'll take all this stuff off. We'll take this off so that we're going to have to dump the coolant to get all the work done. All right, guys. Alright guys, let's do it. I'll set up the camera so you can see everything. Let's make it happen. Now these fasteners right here are Phillips head, like I told you earlier, but you might want to, when you remove them, hold the base of where the screw goes into with your fingers. Otherwise the screw and the base will turn and you won't be able to remove the fastener. And this is what the fastener looks like. You see it? Kind of it's a retaining fastener, nothing crazy. So like I said, there's going to be 1, 2, 4. There will be 6 of these. And there's another one down here right here. See, this one, the base was spinning. The purpose of this device here that I'm removing on the bottom, it not only prohibits the water from ingressing or entering it in the pulley areas and to assure the mud and dirt and whatnot doesn't make it into where the front of the engine is, but it's for aerodynamic purposes only. It channels air, especially through this bottom part here, to under the undercarriage of the engine and the front differential to cool down those components. That's a German engineering, guys. It's I like their engineering. Sometimes I feel like they overdo it a little bit, but it's all right. For example, such as that auxiliary water pump. I've never seen such a thing until I got this car. All right, guys, we're almost done here. Like I said, there's 6 fasteners here. No, sorry, 8 fasteners. So once these babies come out, we'll take the shroud off. We'll dump the radiator. We'll drain the radiator cooling fan. And unfortunately, the way, and I'll show you, where they put this drain plug on the radiator isn't easily accessible. So the best way to actually drain this is by removing the bottom radiator hose. All right, here it is. All right, this is coming off. So this is the channeling of the air I was telling you about for cooling purposes, because it hits these. I don't know if you can see them, but these the bottom part of the oil pan has a grid pattern, so to speak, like not winglets, but fins, and it facilitates the dissipating of the heat of the oil to improve lubrication and cooling down of the engine. Now, bottom shroud is removed. Now let's get some axes done on the top of the engine. We'll just move this under the car and out of the way. Let's do it. Next, we'll remove this engine cover, guys. It's pretty easy. It's a snap-on type device. Shouldn't be anything too complicated to remove. And it is snapped on back here as well. Here it is. Here it has these 3 clips, 1, 2, and 3. There's actually a 4th one here, but it's broken. All right, so now once this is off, we will remove the engine cooling fan, or the suction fan right here. So let's take care of that next. And like I explained to you, we're going to disconnect the power that runs from the positive terminal of the battery all the way to the top of the suction fan. All right, that's next. Okay, we're going to undo this nut right here. Shouldn't be too tight. Be careful you don't it is made of some phenolic material. What this does, it feeds directly juice to the suction fan, and it has a 100 amp fuse on it, and oftentimes this is one of the issues as to why the suction fan on these Mercedes design doesn't work properly. People think it's the fan, or it's this or that, it's the other. It's like I said, it's just it's this fuse right here that it has failed, or something is just not working properly. Yeah, see, this is the fuse I was telling you guys about right here. So this goes right here. We'll put this nut back on here so that we don't lose it. Okay. Next, we'll disconnect the wiring from the suction fan right here. There is a little cover with a Phillips head screwdriver on it. So let me get a screwdriver. Okay. You know, one of the reasons why I'm revamping this cooling system is because I had a minor failure this last summer, and the engine wasn't cooling properly. It ended up passing the 3/4 mark, and didn't reach overheat, but the air conditioning system wasn't working properly. And the cooling system and the air conditioning system work in conjunction. They work together. And one of the sensors that sends the signal for the air conditioning system is the water temperature sensor, which is one of the reasons why I am replacing it. Because down the road, before summer comes, God willing, we are going to do a bunch of work on the air conditioning system as well, such as change the compressor, temperature pressure switch that it's under here, and a number of other things, but we're not gonna, let's not digress and just stick to the problem as to, to the program as to what we're doing today. Okay, I disconnected the plug from the suction fan. It sends the signal for how fast the fan should go. So the little cover is removed. Here it is right here. And it has, in this case, this particular car, comes with a Phillips screw on top. I've seen them with a little Torx bit as well. All right, next we'll remove the two terminals from the suction fan, and then I'll show you what's on the bottom of this car in order to completely remove the unit. The two sockets that you'll need to undo the ground and power to the suction fan is 10 and a 13 millimeter. The ground is coming off. I just put the nuts back on the unit itself so that we don't misplace anything. The stud itself might move a little when you remove the nut. Don't be afraid. It's okay. It's normal. Okay, power is disconnected from the suction fan. All right, put this nut back on it so we don't lose it. All right, so this is back on. Now it's time to move to the bottom of the engine, and I'll show you where the two 10 millimeter nuts are. There's also a few clasps that we'll need to remove. Okay, let's get on the bottom of the car. And this, guys, is the final phase for removing the suction fan. You have these, you have three of these. You have one, there's two, and the three clasp. You could just use the flathead screwdriver to pull them out, or some kind of hook. And then you have these right here, 10 millimeter nuts. They're bolts on both sides of the suction fan, and this unit should come right out and give us enough access to do the water pump, which is right up there. Here it does have a nut plate for a nut, so try not to lose anything, guys. Okay, let's get to the other one as well. See if you can see it. There's right here. Okay, like I said, those three clips, I don't know if you can see them. It's like a spring-loaded clip. One, two, and three. All right, this is also done. Let's remove the suction fan from the top. Let's do it. All right, these are the bolts and the nut plates that hold the suction fan on the bottom. You will have to remove or move out of the way the nut plates to remove the suction fan, because it does wrap around the car frame and the plastic component of the suction fan. Otherwise, you're gonna have a hard time pulling it out. All right, let's get to the top of the car and pull the suction fan out. Now the suction fan does have a plastic lip right here that hooks on top of the radiator, so you're gonna have to pull it up like so, and this baby should come right out. Well, should. Just be careful, pay attention to what you're doing. I mean, we could also probably even drop it to the bottom. Let's see if maybe it'll be easier to drop it to the bottom of the, there it is. Okay, maybe it's easier if it goes down. Be careful for the cooling hoses that go from the transmission to the radiator. I should be able to pull this from the top. I have replaced this unit before. I mean, obviously it's been a minute. I did make a video about it. All right, come on, baby. Okay. Let's just see if we can put it down on the bottom without damaging anything. Okay. It is in the bottom there. Let's see if we could slide it out of the bottom of the car so that it's completely out of the way. Okay, with a little finagling, the suction fan, here it is right here. It did come out from the top. Also be a good opportunity to clean this baby up of any debris that comes from just driving out. That's the bottom part. This is the top part right here. Try not to grab it from the fan, but grab it from the frame. And just, you know, so you don't put too much pressure on the bearings. Now the suction fan does lay on these hooks right here. 1 and 2. And look what I found. There's actually a minor leak of the hose from the power steering pump that goes to the radiator. So that will have to be addressed at some point in the near future. And this is what I did. See, I ended up wrapping the upper radiator hose around the oil filter shroud so that I could slide the suction fan. There was some finagling, kind of, you know, to nice and easy though. I mean, you guys, because it's relatively heavy. I want to say it's about maybe 10-15 pounds. It's not light. All right, and here we are. Here we are, guys. Water pump right here. There's gonna be these 4 10mm nuts. So it'll be a good time to loosen these up right now while there's tension on the pulley. Otherwise, it's going to be a bear to do so later. And this is the nut I was telling you, the bolt I was telling you about. It's a T50 tamper-proof. They don't want you to mess with this. They want you to replace the whole tension, belt tension, tensioner, or, you know, the whole assembly. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna move this air filter shroud. It's a plug and play. It's a snap in. There's no hardware really to remove this, so that we have an easier access on when we have to do the auxiliary water pump. And besides, I don't like the fact that I missed this hooked up properly right here. All right, guys, let's move on to the next thing. Let's dump this. Well, actually, before we dump the radiator, let's go ahead and move this out of the way. To remove the air filter housing, it's a fairly easy task. It's all really plug and play. We have your airflow sensor right here. Just grab the clips here on the side, yeah, and just pull back on it, put it aside. Then you have 2 clasps right here. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that hug the lower part of the filter housing. And this baby should come right up like this. And here it is. And we can now remove the bottom part. This should just lift right up. But before you just lift it right up, but right on this side here, and the inboard of the lower part of the air filter housing, there is the auxiliary water pump hose that runs through its side. It has some kind of a clips that kind of sets itself in there. So move the hose out of the way, and then you just lift this up like so. And it comes right out. And this is what I was telling you about. These are the auxiliary water hose from the auxiliary water pump. Runs right through here. So you move this out of the way, and you pull this up. Okay. As far as access goes, guys, we're about as accessed as we can be to handle the full spectrum of this cooling system. Okay, let's do it. Let's now we could dump the radiator. We could dump the coolant from the bottom hose here, because Mercedes decided to put the drain plug on the front part of the radiator for reasons I don't know. German engineering. I mean, there's a lot of things that I like about them. Don't get me wrong. I like the Germans. They make a good product. All right, let's drain the radiator, guys. I am going to recycle the coolant because it's relatively new. It's less than a year old. And then we'll talk about what kind of coolant and the mixing ratio and so on and so forth when that time comes. All right, let's remove the coolant. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this cap right here. So to facilitate the outflow, we're going to put a drain pan under there. Here it is right here. Make sure that it's nice and clean, because what I'll do is I'm going to recycle the coolant, like I said. Under the right there, so it's right under the radiator hose right here, and this is the hose that we're going to disconnect right here, and it has an 8L clamp. I think it's called an 8L. No, it's not an 8L clamp. It's a Flexinox. I think they're called Flexinox clamps. All right, let's remove the bottom radiator hose and drain the coolant out of the car. Okay, I'm gonna loosen up this clamp right here. I don't know if you can see it. Here we go. And then we'll just nice and easy pull the hose from the top. Try to avoid getting dirty. This is gonna be a flathead screwdriver or a metric. Use a metric socket. I want to say it's 7 millimeters, but don't hold me to it. I don't remember. All right, so let's say we move the clamp out of the way. It's moved out of the way. So what we could do next is let's kind of tighten this up, clamp it just by finger a little, so we don't lose it. Okay. We'll move this under here. Try to be as clean as possible, guys. Especially if you're married. The last thing you want to do is give your wife one more reason to love you more. All right. Let's see if we can do this nice and easy. Let's see. I'll just move this out of the way. Finger in the way. This is gonna gush hard, so we're gonna try to use the hose itself as a kind of a tap to slow down the flow of the coolant. it, nice and easy. Put the hose back. Move this back a little bit more so we capture it all. Here it is. You get my point of what we're trying to do here. I'm not trying to make a mess. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to be a flood. It's gonna take a minute or two. You know, just be patient. It's another thing that this job will teach you. Is patience. There's about what 8-10 quarts, a little over 2 gallons of coolant in this car. Now, because this engine has aluminum block and heads, it does require a special type of coolant. I think it's an ethylene glycophosphate free. There's a couple of brands you can use for coolant, and the one I use is, I think it's by Xerox. Forget the actual nomenclature of the Xerox one, and again we'll go over it when the time comes. Well guys, you get the point of what we're doing here. Okay, now that the radiator is just about done draining, it's still dripping a little bit, we can remove in the meantime the upper radiator hose, another Flexinox clamp, flathead screwdriver, and we could disconnect the 2 bottom water pump hoses, one that goes to the bottom of the radiator and the other one that goes to the auxiliary water pump. I must say, it is a clever, I mean, the concept behind the auxiliary water pump, I like it. I mean, I like it. The original purpose, the purpose for it is that when let's say on a cold winter day, while the engine is warming up, I mean, the car is still cold. And what the auxiliary water pump does is siphons water, warm water, just around the combustion chamber jackets, or around the cylinder heads, in other words. And what it does, it pumps that water to the heater core inside of your dashboard, so that while the engine is warming up, that very same warm water that is just behind the thermostat warms you up at the same time, so that you don't have to wait until the engine heats up all the way for you to finally get some heat to the inside of the car. Remember, that was the issue when I first met my wife. She had this Mustang GT. It was a 2003 convertible. Nice car. No, it was a fun car. Nothing special. But man, this thing, I remember driving it in the winter, and it took forever. It took forever for this thing to warm up. I remember I couldn't wait. Oftentimes I would go outside while it was snowing, and I had to drive that car when it snowed a couple of times. And what happened is that I would have to go outside and heat that car up 15-20 minutes, which was what it took to get to work in the first place. Just to, so that I had some heat driving to work. Man, that was something. So yeah, I can appreciate the design behind the auxiliary water pump and its purpose. All right, so it looks like we're gonna have to use something to get in between a thermostat and the radiator hose to dislodge the hose from the thermostat housing, because this thing, it's on there. For the time that I've had this car, I've never had to remove that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use something that looks like this. Yeah, it's a hook. Without trying to puncture the hose, all we're doing is we're just trying to break that. I feel like a dentist doing this, trying to break that crud. Just make sure you take your time, guys. All right, so anyway, that's not working right now. So let's go ahead and try to remove the 2 bottom hoses that go to the water pump. I got a feeling this is going to be challenging to properly dislodge these hoses from the ducting, because I mean, like I said earlier, for the time that I've had this car, I have never had to remove this. Now there's also a clamp right, clasp right here. Hopefully this doesn't break. Let's loosen up these 4 10mm bolts on the pulley of the water pump. We'll take the belt off so we'll have a little bit easier access to these hoses. Okay, you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to do here. Remove the top radiator hose from the thermostat. Be gentle, take your time, don't break anything. And then the 2 hoses that connect to the bottom of the water pump is the next thing. Okay, the torque is not very high. Okay. Well, it's even spinning on the belt. It looks like the belt is a little on the loose side. Okay, water pump pulley is loose. Okay, let's remove this water pump. It's going to require a 17mm socket right under the pulley. Right between the crank pulley and the tension pulley, there is a 17mm. What you could do is just turn it counterclockwise, and that loosens up the tension on the pulley, and it allows you to take the serpentine belt off. And I gotta tell you, this thing was suffering some damage from the oil leak that was happening on the oil cooler. Engine oil cooler was leaking oil in this belt, and it was kind of making the belt slip a little bit, and it was eating the belt. I'm actually glad that we're doing a belt as well. We have a little easier access to these bolts right here for the bottom hoses, and a little more access for the upper radiator hose for the removal of this. Here it is, it's coming. Upper hose, it is out of the way. Here it is. So we can move this out of the way. Now, because this engine has an engine oil cooler attached to oil filter housing, there is a water hose. It is a cooled down. The oil is cooled down with the coolant, and there's this hose here that connects to the water pump. So we will have to remove this as well. What we can do is just remove, kind of lift this up out of the way, and we'll be able to slide the water pump out of the way there. When we move the water pump downwards, and these are the 2 hoses I'm telling you about. This is the hose that connects to the auxiliary water pump right there. And then there's this one right here that we got to remove. The water pump pulley is pretty good, actually. Try to remove these 2 hoses. Not try. We have to remove these 2 hoses on the bottom here. And there's 2 flathead screwdrivers, or you could use a 7mm socket to undo the Flexonox clamp. Okay, let's remove these hoses, guys. Yeah, one last thing I was telling you about. This is the 17mm socket I was telling you about, where you put your socket to release the tension from the tension pulley, so that you can remove the serpentine belt. Like I told you, it was right in between the tension pulley and the crank pulley. Okay, just wanted to show you that. Okay, I did take the liberty of removing the water pump pulley, since we broke torque from those 10mm bolts earlier. So I removed the pulley, and look what I found. I don't know if you could see it. We caught this just in time. You see this? It was starting to leak coolant a little bit, so I'm actually glad that we are doing this. Speaking of preventive maintenance, okay, I did loosen up this hose right here. You see it? This is the water hose that goes to the auxiliary water pump right there, and it goes through this clamp. So what you do, you just stick a screwdriver in here like this, and just pry it, open it up, and it opens this this clasp, this retainer, and you can move this hose out of the way. Also, what I did while the phone was charging, because the battery was dying, I loosened up this water hose down here. You see it? And I loosen this up So now this too is out of the way right here. We'll just put it right here. Let's see where we can put it. We'll just put it right here for the time being. Okay. All right. Also, I tried a few things while the battery was charging on the phone. This is a E50 tamper-proof. I broke torque on it, and it came loose. And it's your standard thing. Some cars, what they do, they'll have this bolt be tightened as you go counterclockwise, and you loosen it clockwise. But Mercedes did the standard way. You loosen it counterclockwise and tighten it clockwise. So it did break torque. I was very happy about that. Now hear this. See how noisy that is? And it's wiggling. So I'm actually glad we're replacing that as well. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this pulley, and we're going to remove this bracket that holds this these components here that control the diaphragm valves that open when the secondary injection pump pumps air into the exhaust manifolds to preheat the cats. So that's what this is all about. We're going to remove this out of the way just to make more room. We'll remove this bracket out of the way. Thermostat E10s, we'll remove these two E10 bolts right here at the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock position. Slide this out of the way. Remove these two bolts here, also E10s. Move this bracket out of the way. E10 will remove the secondary injection pump out of the way, so it opens up this whole area to continue working. And then the rest of the bolts are E10s and E12s, with this one being the biggest one is E14. As for the rest, they're all E10s and E12s. We'll loosen up this clamp here that holds the coolant line to the heat exchanger for the oil here. So this way, and we'll wiggle it with a pick in there so that we break that the friction that is between the hose and the water pump. All right, guys. So I'm gonna put you aside here, and you can watch while I do this, and we will take this water pump off. Let's do it. All right, guys. Like I said, first thing we're gonna do is remove the secondary air injection pump, and it's an E10 socket on the E10 bolt. Where's the ratchet? Here it is, right here. So we're gonna break this bolt, not break, right here. And disconnect this plug right here. And look at that, even the last bit of the plastic broke off of it. We're gonna have to fasten this somehow. Okay. Well, that's the thing, is that this car is old, is over 20 years old, and the plastic is becoming brittle as it goes through thermal cycles, hot and cold, hot and cold. I would expect this to happen. Okay, let's put this aside. Okay, disconnect the arrows under here, and we'll just pull this baby back, and here we go. Secondary air injection pump is off and out of the way. Next, we will remove the thermostat. You know what we could do is actually, while we're at it, is disconnect this terminal, the water temperature sensor. There it is. It came off. Okay, let's take off this bracket here that controls the diaphragms of the secondary injection pump, and to preheat the cats. That's what this system is all about. This is all for all the pollution system, guys. You know, the anti-pollution legislation that it's been going on. Now I gotta Gotta make sure we don't pollute, right? Don't even get me started with that. Now these bolts here, they bolt into the water pump, and the holes on the water pump are tapered. These are going to become self-tapping bolts. They bolt into the water pump. Just get these out of the way. Just don't we do have to remove these to get the water pump off, because it bolts right on the water pump. All right, let's put these two bolts aside. Okay, next we'll remove the thermostat, and then with this clip we'll remove the water temperature sensor. First things first, let's do this thermostat first. This is getting replaced, the whole assembly is getting replaced. Talk about timing, this thing started leaking, just literally just started weeping. Caught it just in time too. Right. And this should pop right out. To some degree anyway. It's moving, but I guess when you wiggle this enough, eventually it'll come. There it is. Spill a little bit of a coolant. Just dump this on the ground, because this whole thing is being replaced. Okay, this is out. Okay, I got the thermostat out. Now we're going to remove this idle pulley, because that is part of the water pump assembly. There it is, and it's a T50 bolt, and if the shank size and the thread count is the same as the tensioner pulley, we will torque those to the same torque. Funny story. When I was looking for the torque specs, to do this job, I had noticed that there was no torque. There was, obviously, just like you guys, you go on YouTube, you go on Google, you do a search to find out what the torque specs are for the various components. And I couldn't find anything on the belt tensioner pulley. And so, here it is. This is one of the water pump bolts, so we will put that accordingly where it goes. And it looks like, let me see, 1, 2, that one goes right, okay, that one goes right here. Okay, is I was looking for, this is making noise, the torque for the tensioner pulley bolt. I couldn't find it. So I kind of was getting frustrated, and I gave up on it, so to speak. I said, I'll figure it out. I'll find it. Not a big deal. Well, then as I was scrolling, as most people do on Facebook and YouTube at the end of the day, just to see what's going on, I ran across the Meta AI, because, we live in the age of artificial intelligence. And the Meta AI on the Messenger said, ask me anything. Oh, okay. You ask anything, huh? Okay. So I asked him. I have this W163 ML500 Mercedes. What is the torque for the belt tensioner pulley that has a T50 damper proof bolt on it? And lo and behold, they gave me the torque. So that's that's what we're gonna torque it at. Here it is, guys. See it? Here it is. Here it is, guys. Here it is. It came off. We got this one as well. And if that's the same shank size, we'll do the same torque, if not a little less. But we'll figure it out. No big deal. So this is also out and out of the way. This goes with this. Let me see if it's I'm curious if it's the same size shank and thread count. And lo and behold, guys, look at that. I don't know if you can see it. It is the same thread count, and it is the same shank size. So guess what? We're going to torque these to the same torque when the time comes. All right, back to the job and back to taking this water pump out. I understand Mercedes. They sell you the pulley separately, and they give you tools to remove the tamper-proof bolt. But then also say, yeah, no, we don't want you to mess with that. So I mean, we just want you to buy the whole enchilada. I want you to buy the whole belt tensioner pulley assembly. Which honestly, guys, I don't want to do it if I don't have to. So yeah, again, you could buy that pulley at I bought it at Auto House. That's where I bought all the parts for this job. All right, final stretch, guys. This is out of the way. I do want to remove this clip and remove that water temperature sensor, so that that too is done and over with. We just use a hook. It shouldn't be too difficult. Should be able to hook it and pull it out. There's a okay. I heard it. Where'd it go? It's under here somewhere. Found it. Here it is. The clip for the, and this just comes out like so. And the O-ring is in. Now be careful. See what I just did? I pulled the water temperature sensor out, and the O-ring is still in there. So be careful, guys, when you do remove the water temperature sensor, that you remove the old O-ring as well. And this too is out. All right. All we have left to do, guys, is remove the water pump. Okay. We'll remove all the T10s first, I guess. Might as well. And then we'll remove the last. We'll remove the biggest one first. We'll remove the T14 or the E14. I get it confused, guys, sometimes. I'll be honest, sometimes I get it confused. It is the E14, not T14. And that's the bolt that goes on the alternator. There it this, and that's off. Broke torque. We'll just go ahead and while you're in here, guys, and everything is moved out of the way, this is a great opportunity to clean up too, especially the radiator fans. Blow some air. Use a soft bristle brush to clear the passageways of the air for cooling purposes. All right, and that's done. All right, this is also done. Move this out of the way. We don't need this anymore. I gotta tell you guys, I should have brought my electric ratchet, but I didn't. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It happens. Okay, all the E10s are now coming off. Now I did make a cardboard template because this thing has so many bolts and they're all different lengths and different sizes. You would do well to make a template so you don't get confused of what goes where. Otherwise, it's gonna be something else. Trying to figure out what goes where, and you don't want to be going through. You don't want to do that battle. Just take the time, make the template. Okay, this one goes here. I'll take this one off. This is my E14 is E10. The torque is not very much. Here. So what I did, I grabbed the new water pump and I made a silhouette on cardboard, which I'll show you guys here later, so we don't make the mistake of where each bolt goes. Here it is under here. Wow, this car is dirty. Sorry guys. I just recently started finally giving this car some well-deserved TLC after it's been taking care of me and my family for so long. I decided I was gonna actually do some work on it that it deserves. I mean, it's a good platform. It's a solid, some solid engineering on this car. It's a very good car. It's well made. I mean, I like it. I could see, I could see where Mercedes, is a Mercedes. This thing is quite a machine. I mean, this thing is a beast of a car. Phenomenal speed, phenomenal acceleration. Although the original, this car was originally intended to supplant the G-Wagon, but then I guess Mercedes decided not to go down that path and to continue to make the G-Wagon and Also made this one here. It is still a body on chassis, a little on the heavy side. It's a good car. I like the W164. That's a monocoque design. It's no longer, they did away with the body on chassis, which makes it for a lighter car, so to speak. Yeah, okay. All we have left is the E12 bolts. All the E10s are out. Would probably do well to down here. Okay. Before I take these last 4 E12s out, I need to do something with this water hose that goes to the oil cooler, so that when a water pump comes out, that freely comes out as well. So let's handle that first. Okay, we move the clamp out of the way. We pass the 90-degree pick between the pump and the hose to break that traction, that friction, if you will. So when this baby's ready to come down, there shouldn't be any problems. Okay, let's get this one out of the way. So you guys, we're doing the last 4 E12 bolts, and then this baby should pop right out. Then ironically, all the E12s, unlike the E10s, are very long. Alright guys, this is it. Moment of truth. This baby should pop right out with very little effort. If you have to put any major effort on removing this water pump, it means you may still have a bolt or two that are in there. So here it is. It even came off this hose right here. Alright guys, this is it. The water pump is off and the gasket is attached to it. Alright, we'll clean these contact surfaces and then we'll do the reverse to put this baby back in. The next thing I honestly wanted to do was remove this auxiliary water pump, since it's just a couple of Festinox, no, what are they called? I forget the name of these clamps. There's a specific name for them. And it's just a connector under here. A couple of clamps here, connector under here, and this thing just slides up and down like this. Yeah, just props up on this bracket where the battery housing is. But unfortunately, I just realized I did not get the same auxiliary water pump. This one has 3 hoses that connect to it. And I even thought about putting a plug. Fine, I'll just plug it and put a clamp on it. But the thing is that the connector too is different. This one has some prawn looking thing like that. You see it? Whereas this one is a different connector altogether. Believe me, I took it off and it looks nothing like that. So I guess we won't be doing the auxiliary water pump this time around. That is a bummer, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is a bummer. Okay, thought I'd share that with you. This is gonna have to wait for another time. Okay, we did clean best we can the housing for the thermostat, but for whatever reason, this dark stuff is just not coming out. And the water pump surface is also clean, and the housing for the water pressure, water temperature sensor. Sorry. Make sure that these surfaces are not contaminated with the particles or greases and oil. Try to keep them clean, because that is what where the water pump obviously is going to make. We're trying to minimize leaks as much as possible. Also, remember I told you at the beginning of this job to make a template. this is what it looks like right here. And the reason for it is because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 bolts. Not only are there 3 different sizes, but there are also several different lengths. I did take the time to clean them, and this is ready to go in. This is why I want you to do this, because it's going to be hard when the time comes to figure out what's where. That's why you make a template, so you won't have that problem. And the way you could do that, the easy way you could do that, just get your new water pump and you put it on top of a cardboard or a box. Just place it on it, kind of, and go around it with a Sharpie or a pencil or pen, whatever you want to use, and then mark where the holes go. And that's how you make the template. This water pump came with a paper-like gasket. I'm on a fence whether I should use, it's called the Permatex. It's kind of a glue, if you will, to put on top of this water pump right here on the surface here before I put the gasket on. I don't know. We'll see what I'm going to do. But this water pump is ready to go in. I mean, this whole assembly actually is ready to all go back in. So all we're putting back in, everything short of the auxiliary water pump, this will have to go back. Okay, let's make it happen, guys. I did end up going with some Permatex, as you can see, that with red stuff on the surface area of the water pump. So this way it was easier to install, being that it's not a metal one, it's a paper one. Okay, we propped up the hose for the cooler. Let's see if we can install it. I should be able to. As you can see, I moved the clamp back to where it belongs. We're going to prop up this hose like so. Alright, it's in. Hopefully the gasket didn't move, it didn't break. It looks like we're looking good. Do want to make sure though with a mirror. Hold on. Let's make sure the gasket didn't move or break. We are looking good. Okay. We're going to put the first bolt to make sure you don't pinch that electrical connector that's by the alternator over there. Alright, we're going to put this one in. Where are you? We're just going to prop up the bolts in for the time being. Put some Loctite on all of them. Just a little bit. We're using Loctite 242. It's a mild Loctite. Okay, this one goes here. Okay. The other one. We'll do the 4 size 12s first. Where does this one go? This one goes somewhere down here. Where are you? Here it is. Okay, that's in. One last one, size E, size 12. There it is right here, and this one goes here. Let's put some Loctite on it. Okay. This cold that I've been having has not been helping, I'll tell you. Okay. Let's get our ratchet with the different sockets on it. So what we'll do, we'll put them all in by hand first, and then we'll torque them down in a progressive way, because the torque is not very high in the first place. So excuse me guys, I'm a little under the weather. This one here. Okay. All right, now we could put all the E10s in. We'll start from pick an area and we'll just go clockwise. So this way we don't make any mistakes. So this one is where the idle pulley goes, or as some call it, idler pulley. Whatever you call it, whatever makes you comfortable. And then we'll go through all the torque specs and whatnot. I'm just gonna set all the bolts in. Like I said, in the clockwise fashion. This one goes here. Well, guys, you get the point of what we're doing. So I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to use I'm going to go all the way around and put some Loctite on it, and I'm just going to go clockwise with the template, and I'm going to set all the bolts in the meantime. All right, we set all the bolts in, and now it's time to torque the bolts. The torque on it is, mind you, like I said earlier, there are 3 different size bolts in this water pump. There's E10s, E12s, and E14s. The E14 being its biggest one. For the alternator, it's not in yet. The water pump is mainly E10s and E12s. Now, the torque is 10 Newton meters for the E10s, 25 Newton meters for the E12s, which equals 88.5 inch-pounds on a 10 Newton meters and 221.2 inch-pounds on a 25 Newton meters. What we're going to do is we're going to do a sequential way of doing this. So this way, we're just going to keep going all the way around. This thing shut off. 88.5 inch-pound. Now, little word on torque wrenches. When you get yourself a torque wrenches, if you buy it online, I suggest as soon as you get it, is get your torque wrench calibrated by your local calibration shop, because you never know how those shipping and handling people manage to handle your tools. Now, if you bought it yourself and you picked it up, they already hit torque. If you bought it yourself and you picked it up, what I suggest you do is get it torqued. What you want to do is get it torqued at least once a year, unless you drop it. If you drop it, and then you should get it retorqued right away, because these are very sensitive, especially when you have a sensitive job like this one. Okay. Now we're going to go to torque. What you want to do, we're going to go all the way around, make sure that the torque wrench doesn't spin anymore. Get your torque wrench calibrated once a year, and if you drop it, recalibrate it again. If you bought it online before you even use it, get it calibrated, because you don't know how them folks handled your torque wrench. So just do a Google search, find out what your local tool calibration, there's a special name for these shops, I forget what they're called. Okay, going to green right away, and they're not turning anymore. We're going to do one last round. There it is, it's not turning. 2, 3, 4, 5. See, they're still turning, so I have to do another pass. 6, 7, 8, still turning. 9 and 10. Let's do it again one more time. Hopefully they stop spinning. Still spinning. I'm gonna have to do one more pass. Okay, these ones are not spinning anymore. When you hear that, an electric torque, it means you over torqued it, but I'm not worried about it. Okay, this one's still spinning. Still spinning. Okay, still spinning. You get the point. I'm just gonna go all the way around until this stops turning. That's when you know. See, it's still moving. Still moving. That's what happens is the gasket settles. Listen to it, still spinning. What happens? The gasket settles, and then it gives a little. And we will go around as many times as necessary. It still spins. Still doesn't spin anymore. All right, we're looking good. We'll do one last pass, and then we'll move on to the E12s. It's still spinning. Now, mind you, we do have Loctite in there, so once that stuff solidifies, these bolts are not going anywhere. There it is. All right, we are looking good. All right, I'm happy. Now let's do the E12s at, what do we say? 25 Newton meters or 221.2 inch-pounds. Okay, we're now doing the E12s. Here it is, I don't know if you can see it. 221.2 inch-pounds equals 25 Newton meters. First one is here. Change the unit of measure. Yeah. Okay. We're going to do the same thing. Where was the other one? There was one, I believe, was down here. Here it is. And the fourth one is right here. All right, we can now torque them. Okay, not yet, I guess. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Well, here you are. Okay, 3. I'm sorry, 2. 3. 4. Okay, we reached the torque spec. And we'll do the same thing. And last one down here. All right. Do one more last pass. Make sure they don't move. One. This one's still turning a little bit. we go. And last one. This one's still turning too. Yeah, still turning. There we go. That's good enough. Okay. We are there. We could do now, just a real quick, especially the ones we didn't see, we can't quite see. We're gonna look them over with the mirror, make sure that everything is they're all down. It looks like they're all torqued. Here we go. It doesn't look like we missed any, huh? I don't know if you can see it down there. See it? Okay, we are looking good, guys. All right, so now let's put the water temperature sensor in, and we'll put the thermostat in. All right, guys, it is time for the thermostat, and it goes right here. You'll notice that the water pump has this lip here, and the thermostat has this lip right here. And what these are for are your locks for when the time comes to insert and install the water temperature sensor. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to put a little bit of Vaseline on the gasket of the thermostat, because it does create a better seal, if you will, much like a cork on a bottle of wine. A wet cork will do a better seal on the glass than a dry cork ever will. So we're just going to put a little bit of Vaseline on the surface. And the funny thing is that, well, it's not funny, I thought I'd share. One of the things I do when I install those foam earplugs in my ear, when I can't get to my ear protection at work, being that I'm exposed to turbines a lot, what I do, I actually wet the foam plugs before I put them in my ears. Why? Because like I mentioned earlier, they create a better seal. Now, here it is. The thermostat is inserted. So now what we're going to do is the same thing we did with the water pump. This cold just won't leave me. Now, guys, keep in mind one thing here. I am no Mercedes manufacturer, nor am I an authorized repair station for Mercedes. I'm just a guy that does his research, his legwork, to find out how to do stuff, and torque specs and whatnot, materials, consumables, and so on. And I suggest you do the same. You should use this video as a reference only. Now, why do I say this to you? Well, not too long ago, actually, somebody had complained that I missed one step when they had to replace the cabin air filter on their Toyota. I bought the car used. I mind you, it's no excuse, but I bought the car used, in a car, the glove box didn't have a strut, or what do you want to call it? It didn't have the not the actuator. It's like a dampener to slow down it stops the glove box from slamming going down. Mine didn't have one, so I didn't bother to talk about it when I replaced the whatchamacallit, the one second, let me get the ratchet. When I replaced the cabin air filter, and I don't want to disappoint you guys. I mean, yes, you see what I'm doing. Hopefully it helps you, but nevertheless, you should always do your legwork. Make sure everything is done properly in case I miss something, I don't want you to rely heavily on me. You should always do your homework, look around, see how people do stuff, and then draw your own conclusions. Okay, now it's time to torque. Now this too, being that it's a E10s, the torque is 10 newton meters or 88.5 inch-pounds, so we'll do just that. We'll torque it down to 88.5 inch-pounds, and we'll do the same thing we did with the water pump. We'll alternate back and forth, because that rubber that rubber seal, that rubber gasket will give a little in it. So what you want to do is make sure that you don't you give the proper torque, because that rubber will relax. Okay, we'll turn it back on. Sorry, this thing shut off on me. Again, 88.5 inch-pounds. Let's get there. Probably be faster. What happened? Probably be faster if I did newton meters, right? Here it is. Let's get to 10 newton meters. But I like inch pounds because I am American and I like inch pounds. So, okay, here it is, 88.5 inch pounds. Can you see it? And now we could go back and forth and torque it to spec. Okay, we're there. We're there. We're there. And we are there. That's no longer moving, and I am satisfied. All right, guys. Thermostat is in. Next thing we'll do is, how about we install that water temperature sensor, then we'll install this bracket too. Now, I didn't run the screws in here earlier because these are self-tapping tapered holes. We'll just we'll give it a German torque called getting tight. So that's how we're going to install that. But let's do the water temperature sensor first. Again, the part number for this, I mean, we talked about it in the beginning. There it is right there. That's the part number for this water temperature sensor. And I told you why I'm replacing this. Not only for the simple purpose of revamping the engine cooling system. I'm bummed out that I can't do the auxiliary water pump, because I would have wanted to complete the whole job today, but I guess that's not happening. I'm just going to have to go through the whatever steps I have to get the right one, so that and then we'll do a video about that as well. We talked about what that auxiliary water pump is. It's German engineering. We're doing startup. What it'll do, it'll siphon hot air out of the right around the cylinder combustion chambers to get some heat inside the car. But also it has a function when you shut down. When you there's the Vaseline on the O-ring. Okay, you got some Vaseline on it. When you shut down the engine, what it does, here it is. It's just like that. We're going to tilt it a little bit because it had a little bit of tilt to it. We'll connect it, and then we'll put that clip that went flying. There it is. It's plugged in, and then we'll put that clip that went flying last time. Yeah, what it does is when you shut down the engine, auxiliary water pump kind of, redistributes the hot water around circulates the hot water around the engine and the heat exchanger radiator and all that, so that you have a more uniform cool down session, or that's what that's all about. All right, guys, then we can now hook up, we'll hook up this bracket here. Well, the German torque good and tight. Then we'll put, we'll make sure that all the water hoses are installed properly. Then we'll blow some air in here. This thing looks, I did some half-fast cleaning, but could I have done a better job? Yes, I could have, but I'm pressed for time, unfortunately, and I'm trying to get this job done and get this car so that I can go back to work. We also have to install the belt tensioner pulley, and I'll show you how we're going to go about doing it, because it's the same torque as this one. All right, let's do it. Yeah, here we go. We'll run this. I don't know that I'm ready to install this water hose just yet. Well, actually I can, because I can wrap the water hose around the oil filter housing, just like I did when I removed the suction fan. I was just trying to think ahead, guys. Just trying to think ahead. All right, let's tighten this baby up. Well, why don't we use the socket instead of using such a long tool? We use a 7mm socket. Okay, let's make sure we're in the same groove as before. There we go. The torque on this is getting tight. Don't get too crazy, but you know, make sure that's make sure it's on there. Okay, we can now install the bottom radiator hoses. We'll do the big one first. Again, what I like to do, although I didn't do it on the top one, put some Vaseline in the hose itself for the same reason I explained to you earlier. It gives it a better seal. Come on, baby. There it is. It's on there. Ah, guess what? You know what we haven't done yet? Install that M113 bolt. Before we go too far ahead with these hoses, how about we install this baby, huh? The torque on this is 42 newton meters, or what, 30.9 foot-pounds? 30.9 foot-pounds. So let me get my torque wrench and we'll put this one in. So same thing, we'll put some Loctite 242. It's a mild blue Loctite, which if you notice, it's this these bolts, when they came out, they had this blue hue to it. You see it? I don't know if you can see it because I cleaned off the bolts, but they had Loctite in them as they had Loctite on it before. So you would do well to put Loctite on it also. Now a digital torque wrench only goes up to interesting. This one is not going in. Okay, let me see what's going on here first before I continue, guys. Alright, guys, back to us. It was a minor, it wasn't really anything. I just literally had to thread the whole bolt through the bushing. I didn't think you needed to witness that. Now, the torque on this is 30.9, but because this particular torque wrench increments are to 0.5 foot-pounds at a time, we're going to round up to, you see it, 31 foot-pounds. Let's do it. Alright, we're done with this too. We can now install this bracket right here. We'll install the pulleys, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. Honestly, I didn't like the fact that that water hose, or top radiator water hose, was in the way, so I took it out. Not to mention, I hadn't installed, I hadn't put any Vaseline on it for lubricating purposes. And besides, I want to spray a little bit. Okay, we're going to put these two bolts in for this bracket right here. Then we'll install the pulleys. We'll put the belt in, and then we'll put the bottom hose in, put the belt in, and then we'll put the top radiator hose. All right, guys, we're coming to the end of this project here. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. It's the final countdown, like that song goes. Can't recall who sings it or what it's about. Vara. I kind of like the, right now that's what the, okay, it's about as much as we're gonna go in. Don't need any more than that. Okay, now let's put the upper pulley in. This we get rid of that that template that I had made. All right, upper pulley or idle pulley. The torque on it is 20 Newton meters or 177 inch-pounds. So we get the torque wrench, and it's gonna go on with a T50 socket bolt, or however you want to call it. Put some of this baby on it. See that the hue, this thing had, like I said, it had Loctite in its previous life. All right. The pulley does prop up like so. Put this baby in. And like so. One more time because it's still kind of rotating. And that's it. That should be good enough right there. We'll put its cap on. And this baby is good to go. Remember the other one in the beginning of the video, how loud that was? Listen, it's not making any noise. Now let's put that bottom belt tensioner pulley on. It's going to be a little bit tricky how we're going to do this. Okay, let's see. Same thing, same shank size, same thread count. We'll do the same torque on it. Again, we'll put some of the baby blue stuff on it. Wonder if Diddy used this stuff at his place. Some of this baby blue stuff. Okay. All right, let's put this. Okay, just like the idle pulley, the tension pulley has a lip that it sits on. Let's see if we can accomplish this without breaking anything. I don't know if you guys could see it. Let me see. And I am happy. And she spins free, just like this. And okay, let's install the bottom radiator hoses because it's time. It's time to put these babies in. I'm gonna get this job done before the wife comes home, and she gives me some of that love of hers with them questions that she likes to ask. This job's not done yet. Yeah. I love my wife. Don't get me wrong, guys. I really, really did. She's an amazing, amazing woman. Puts up with me for one thing. That's it. That's an amazing thing in itself. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. You're all amazing too. And if you're married, I'm sure your wife is amazing just as well. Just to put up with us, you know. At the end of the day, though, besides me doing this for you guys, I'm also doing it for her. You know, I want her to have a safe car to drive, a reliable, safe car. Not only do I enjoy this, it's a great hobby. It also saves money in the long run. Believe it or not, it saves money. Working on your own car. Insurance is cheaper. Registration is cheaper. And if you know how to work on cars, all you're doing is buying parts. And you know where your car stands, you know? I mean, there's something to be said about that. I always thought it was worth it anyway. Work on my cars. Make sure that we're in the original groove. This thing, it's nice and tight. Okay, not too crazy. I don't want this baby to leak either, though. Okay, let me see how that feels with the screwdriver, because I don't know, to me it's a screwdriver feel. It's just easier to torque it down, though, with the... It's pretty tight. Yeah, it's nice and tight. All right, now let's install their auxiliary pump hose. And it goes like so, right inside of this plastic. And it goes like this. Oh yeah, well, let's not forget the lube, guys. The lube is, you know, guys, it's all about that lube. You know, put some of that lube on and things suddenly just work better. Lube just makes things better. I know you know what I'm talking about. That's right. We're talking about radiator hoses. I don't know what you're thinking. I'm thinking radiator hose. Oh, there it is. There's that clamp all the way up here. And that it too. No, I don't know how. There we go. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm unable to tighten it right now. Woo! I'll tell you. It's got a little bit of some Malaha. Okay. Maybe I should go from the top like this a little bit, huh? Yeah, I think I like that better. But this sure brings me back to my childhood when I used to do this stuff. My Uncle Mario in New Jersey at the gas station doing water pumps and tune-ups. Yeah, that was my childhood. That's probably why I ended up going with this path in life. There he goes. That's in. So bottom radiator is always at the pump is hooked up. Here is hooked up. We still have to tighten it at the radiator on the bottom, but we'll leave that for later for when we are actually on the bottom of the car. Okay, what we could do now is put the I know you guys could guess it. You could think what I'm thinking. The water pump pulley. That's right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Put this baby on. This too will take a Loctite. And the torque on it is also 88.5 inch-pounds. And put this at the 12 o'clock position. It's a standard 10mm bolt. I'm going to try to see if I could torque it. Well, I'm supposed to put Loctite on here now, but I won't be able to. I'll do this later when the time comes to tighten this, because it's gonna be kind of hard to tighten it with when the water pump spins freely like this. So when the belt is on, it'll be easier. Well, that's the assumption anyway. And this one doesn't want to go in. Not by hand anyway. Oh, here it is. I was treading it wrong. Alright, let's see if I want to see something here. Because if I can do this, counter the I wonder if I can hold it by hand, to be honest with you, because it's only 88 inch-pounds. So yeah, let's. I'm gonna try to. Let's try this, guys, because I'm a Loctite kind of guy. I like to do things. I don't know. Maybe it's the aviation technician in me. It's got to do things right, you know. And to me, it means a lot that things are done right. So, day's gonna come when I'm gonna sell this car. And whoever's gonna get this car is gonna score all the work that I've done on it. Maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. We'll see. But I do like the W164s. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier already, for the simple fact that it has a monocoque body, which, you know, ironically, guys, came from the world of aviation. There's a design, well, not a design, but an engineering type stuff that came from aviation. I actually did a video on that. If you guys are interested, you just got to check it out on my channel. I can't recall. I think I called it from a wooden cloth to advanced composite. Good video. I mean, I put a lot of effort into that. Too bad it didn't get a lot of views, but good information. Did a lot of research on the topic. learned a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I just like to share information with you guys, such as this right here. Like this right here. Alright, so that's in, that's tight. Last one. Last one. Nice thing about this water pump, and it doesn't have a clutch fan. Well, it's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to it. There's pros and cons to it. I mean, the nice thing about having a mechanical fan, the fan clutch, you ain't gotta worry about electronics and motors and fans, because I replaced the suction fan in this car once before, and it's not cheap. I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's not cheap. All right, let's see if we can do this by hand, by sheer manly strength. It's again, it's 88.5 inch pounds. No, not 177. Change the units. We'll go down to 10 Newton meters, I believe. 188.5 is. You guys just doing a thing. I am super stoked about the fact that I was able to replace the belt tensioner pulley, because I'll tell you, first of all, there was no video on it. Oh, look at that! I can do it by hand. Torqued it a little bit. You know, my wife always not complains, she's always told me that I got a grip on me. I can see what she's talking about. All right, this baby is on. All right, guys. So what's next? Well, what's next is I think we should install the Serpentine belt. Huh? What do you think? Should we install the Serpentine belt? Before I do that, I actually want to blow this radiator a little bit just to improve air circulation. But I'm gonna do that. It's gonna get loud, guys. So I'm gonna cut you off here. I'm just gonna do it on my own, and then we'll continue here. We're now gonna tighten that bottom radiator hose. You guys, you'll be able to see it from the top. Let me see what I can do here. Yeah. Not that you guys need to watch this, but I figured some folks in the past have said that you need to show more action with what you do. It's like, all right, well, here you go. This is the action. I want you guys to see the struggle that sometimes it takes to get the job done and to get it done right. It was a learning phase for me too, Okay, so this is tight, right? So what do we have left to do now? We have this thing is on there, hopefully. Oh, they don't go anywhere. Okay, let's go ahead and install the new Serpentine belt. I gotta tell you guys, I'm really enjoying the shininess of it all. It's a good feeling. I'm sure you guys can relate when install something new and it just looks pretty, you know. It just looks pretty. Still not. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Okay, 1 second. I want to show you guys something. And this is, guys, what I want to show you. If you have one of these, which you should have, this is your owner's manual. And on page 25, where the technical data, it tells you the routing of the Serpentine belt for a 350 and an ML500. Now, mind you, the M113 and M112 engines are, by and large, are identical platforms short of 2 cylinders. They share a lot of the components, such as coils, and I think the water pump is the same as well. They share the water pump as well. And the only difference, it varies from model to model. Some of them have the, let me see if I can get, some of them have the, I'm fetching a, sorry guys, I'm getting a 17 millimeter socket right now. So that, so that I can torque that, where did I put my large sockets? I can't find them. Golly. Oh, there they are. This is a. Should have to go in there. There should be one up here. All the tools that I've been using should be up here. Guys, I don't want to. You don't need to hear any of this. Currently looking for a 17 millimeter socket. I'll be right with you. All right, back to us, guys. Sorry, I needed to find a 17 millimeter socket because this hexagonal here it is right here on the tension pulley is 17 millimeter, and I'm gonna need this for when the time comes to install the Serpentine belt. So let me grab that belt, which I just had in my hand right now. I'm having a senior moment. Where did I put that at? Oh, here it is. All right, let's install this baby, guys. This beautiful brand new Serpentine belt. Okay. This goes here and around here. That's right. This goes here. This goes here. Around the water pump, like so. Around the crank, like so. This is going to go away like this. This is going to go all the way around. This is where it has to meet the. Alright guys, we're just about there. I gotta tell you, the new belt sure has some tension to it. Let me tell you. Not tension, it's because it was wrapped up like a Christmas gift. Alright, let's do this. Let's see if we can. And here we go. Do you guys see that? Well, she is a beauty, I'll tell you. You know, the old belt, I was able to spin the water pump freely. which I can't do this time. Everything is engaged. I like it. It looks really, really, really good. Now we technically can install this water hose. We're not gonna install the water hose. You know what we're gonna do instead? You don't know. I'm gonna tell you. We're gonna install the suction fan. The suction fan, but I'm gonna have you guys look at it from a distance because you're kind of in my way right now. All right, so let's make that happen. As far as the suction fan goes, it's going to mount on this upper lip right here. It has kind of like a hook all along the length of the suction fan, and then it will go inside of these guides right here. One and two. Where is it? Right here. And then we'll put those clips on the bottom, and the two 10mm bolts. Right here, see it? This is what we're talking about. With the nut plates. So let's make that happen. Okay, the name of the game is nice and easy. No hurry. That's the name of the game. Let me get this out of the way. Alright, made it past that. When you guys do this, be careful not to don't grab the fan or the suction fan by the fan itself, but rather do so by the housing. I gotta tell you, that went a lot smoother than I had anticipated. The fan is in. We're now gonna put those two 10mm bolts with the nut plates on the bottom and those clips, as you guys probably remember from the beginning of the video, and then we'll hook up all the electrical. All right, let's do it. All right, guys, as you can see, we got the 10mm bolts with the nut plates installed, and we got the three. See where are the clips? See it? Here they are. Let me see. The 1, 2. Little down there now. One little detail. You'll notice the nut plate wraps around the suction fan and the frame that the fan mounts on before you put the 10mm bolt through. And that's something that you guys need to know. All right, as far as the bottom goes, all we need to do is install the shroud for improved airflow, aerodynamic stuff, and also makes for a good collector of oils if you have any leaks. Let's go on top and connect the electrical part of this suction fan, which is here. The 10 and the 13 with the plug. And we'll reconnect the battery there, and we'll install the air filter. And it turns out you didn't need to disconnect the airflow sensor. I already plugged that back in. Then we'll finally put the hose back on and the secondary air injection pump, and we're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Final stretch. Now, these are electrical connectors, so don't get too crazy. And the walls on the socket is too thick, of course. Right, hold on. This one right here. You know, there's a washer I installed in there last time. I've been messing with this heating and cooling system for some time, and I thought the washer was needed. Actually does not need a washer in here. The connection is plenty good, and these studs move a little, so don't think that because the studs move that you're shanking out the. That's definitely not the case. Just that the studs move inside of this electrical component on the suction fan. If I could just get the. See what I'm doing here? This is what you don't want to do. Took that washer out. Let's put the electrical connectors down. Power and ground. I'm gonna make a video eventually how this system controls the speed of the fan. It's pretty interesting. I've been doing a lot of research on it. This thing operates at 10 hertz, but a varying pulse frequency, and that's what sets the speed of the fan. It's rather fascinating. I'll have all that information for you in due time when I address the air conditioning system, because the wife says that it used to be a lot colder, and despite my efforts, I have not done really well. I'll make sure that this thing goes back to being really cold. It's probably the compressor. That's my guess. I mean, the car is, again, it's old. It's not a... Alright, again, nice and tight, but not too tight. It's an electrical connection. So the compressor might have been this less leg. I also want to replace the expansion valve that it's inside of the dashboard. And all this is coming. God willing, all this is coming. Alright, that's tight. This is reconnected. Okay, now let's connect the the power source to the suction fan, and it's connects straight to the battery, right on top of this 100 amp fuse. Oh, shoot. I don't know about you guys, but every time it sparks, even batteries, it always startles me every time. Every time. I've yet to get over it. Be super careful. It's a phenolic nut. It's rather fragile. Just make sure you don't touch the body of the car. Just take your time. Not the best adjustable wrench, but I don't have to do for now. Oh shit, what happened? Oh, I see. This thing needs to engage all the way down. There we go. And just be super careful, guys. This is a lot of amps running through the system here, so this is not a game. Want to play games? I suggest you go to the arcades. Alright, this is nice and tight. Alright, so suction fan is reconnected. We can now install the water hose. Do want to put some Vaseline on it. I don't know, it just makes it a nice, nice seal. Wet is always better than dry. I know you all know this, but it bears repeating. Wet is always better than dry. You know, you as ears, let him hear what I'm talking about. Oh, shit. Okay. There's a bunch of crap in here. Sorry, I'm just kind of cleaning the inside of this hose. Alright, so now we could put some little lube. Here we go. Get it on. You know, there used to be some kind of hook right here, like a V. I'll show you, right? See what this hole is? There used to be some kind of hook right here that held the radiator hose. Plastic, brittle, broke. That was at the beginning when I first got the car, had the car. And I never bothered to fix it. Too bad. Alright, let's put this hose in. Look at that. Super easy. All the way down to the stop. Now, what I suggest you guys do, I mean, obviously we're not done yet. So I got to install the secondary air injection pump. Hopefully this cold will leave me sooner than later. Okay. And that should do it. I'm going to torque check it with a screwdriver because I don't know if these hoses have a better feel with the screwdriver than I do with the ratchet. You put a lot of torque when you're using a ratchet, unlike a screwdriver. All right, so that's in. Let's install the secondary air injection pump. Should be it's nice and easy. Literally one bolt. Okay, this goes like so. The hose connects right in here like this. What this thing does, it usually runs during the preheat time when you first start up the car. What this thing does is it heats up the catalytic converters. The ground, which goes like this. And the torque on this baby is, I forgot, I wrote it down. Hold on. 112 Newton meters, whatever that is, 106 inch-pounds, and it's a E10. Sorry guys, I'm a little bummed out that my connector, this one right here, I don't know if you can see it, but the little clasps broke, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna address that. What did I say? 100 and what? 106 inch-pounds. It goes straight to 10. One of the things I don't like about these. 106 inch-pounds. And we are there. Beautiful. Okay. How am I going to keep this connector? Oh, shoot. Should have had the ground be down more. See? I'm too busy watching the torque wrench and I didn't bother to make sure that this was more like that. All right. All right. I have to figure out a way for this to stay down. Looks like it'll stay down. I just don't like it that the little plastic clasps broke. I mean, I'll have to change the connector. I have to look into seeing what the part number for that connector is. Okay, so the secondary air injection pump that preheats the cats as startup is installed. But we just have a couple of things left here. The air intake. See it? The intake box right there. Plug and play. So we'll address that right now. Might as well. But remember what we said at the beginning of the video? You're not only the first, but you're also the only inspector on your car. So you gotta make sure. Oh, put the stuff in the trunk. Hold on, stand by. You gotta make sure that everything is installed properly. I don't know if it's the dry air or what, but I gotta tell you this. Sorry. All right, here I am. So this goes. Take this off first, guys. Stand by. All right, so first thing we're gonna install is this right here. But at the same time, we got to make sure that this, remember, the inlet from the engine side, that'll be properly inserted. Now it is, which it wasn't before. We're going to run the auxiliary water pump hose through its little two brackets. And then we just press this down like so. And that's pretty much it, and that's it. So we get it installed properly this time. Okay, put this in like this. Make sure that the clasps engage all the way. You hear that? That's the sound of freedom. That's what this guy used to work with. He used to say all the time, you know, it's fun and all the first, the second time, but then if you say it every time, a fighter jet takes off, I guess it'll be a little bit much. All right, we got it, buddy. Yeah, got it. Sound of freedom. All right, the filter is in. Now, obviously the bottom shroud still needs to be installed. So let's go ahead and do that. It's only 2, 4, 6. There's 6 plastic screws. I don't think you guys need to watch that. I know. I trust you guys know how to actually do that. And then all we have to do is filter the coolant that I drained out of the cooling system, and I'm gonna put that back in, and then we'll start up the car and prime it and bleed it and all of that. But before we do all of that, since we're up here, we are gonna do an inspection of everything that we did. So remember, we messed with this. This is back on, it's tight. All the clasps, we're gonna do an inspection right now. Done. There's something about touching what you did, as if your hands have a memory. This is in, this is done. I remember doing the bolts in the bottom, the hose in the bottom is done. This hose is done. These two bottom hoses, I believe they're ton. Yeah, they're pretty sure they're tight. Yeah, no, it's the Flexinox clamps are not moving, so that's on there. Okay, we already torqued these, remember? We did these by hand. This is done. Tension pulley is done. Where is it? Radiator. I mean, not the radiator, but the water hose that goes to the heat exchanger. That was done. This is done. So let's go ahead and install that plastic cover that goes here. Stand by. And obviously, guys, when the time comes, look over your station. Look over your area where you put all your parts in. Make sure that you should have literally no parts left. The only parts you should have left was that extra gasket that came with the water pump that you don't need to install because it gives you option A or option B. You want to put this gasket here, but that's only if you have a certain type of engine, or this other gasket here if you have the M113 E50 engine, and in that case you install that water. I did remove an O-ring from this, but that's besides the point. Like I said, you should have no parts left over. Okay, so the cover is on. I'm going to put that bottom shroud in, and I'm going to fill that coolant. We're going to filter first and then fill the coolant. Let's do it. Well, folks, this is it, the final phase. We're doing a final inspection under the hood here. Make sure we don't leave any tools and everything disconnected. I am refilling the coolant as we speak. I am using the old coolant because it was only, I mean, last time I bought this 3 months ago, so I don't want to waste it. It's a 50-50 ratio, and I'm filtering it with paper towels. I do use Xerox G48. You could either get a 50-50 already pre-diluted with you, pre-diluted for you with the distilled water, or you could buy a concentrate and make 2 gallons on your own. Afterwards, I'll put this in. I do know that it will take at least that much coolant, and then I'll just fill up one of those and take it with me, because what I'll run it, I'll drive it, have the heater on blasting, make sure that the whole system circulates properly. And we are done, guys. Obviously, you're going to want to run it. Leaks check it, and ops check the fan. Since you disconnected the fan or even replaced the water temperature sensor, this fan should be coming on at 87 degrees Celsius, or between the half and the 3/4 mark. This fan should come on for cooling. So keep that in mind, guys. Thank you very much for bearing with me. It was a pleasure doing this for you guys and for myself as well, obviously. And that's all I have, folks. We will see you at the next video. I hope you enjoyed it. See you at the next one. Take care.